Today I'm talking with my friend Randy, who is also an adult child of divorce, and we're going to talk a little bit about marriage in terms of adult children of divorce getting married. I think a lot of children of divorce I talk with, including myself, had and have a lot of questions about what is marriage supposed to look like, and can I have a successful marriage, and how do I get from where I am now if I'm single to being married and having a healthy relationship? Randy's story is a bit that his parents split up when he was 7. By the time he was 15, he was using drugs. He left home. And then by 21, he ended up getting married and has been married for many years since then, is still married to an amazing woman from an intact family. My story is kind of the other extreme. My parents split up when I was 10. I left home at 17 and I didn't get married until I was 45. So that's a much more recent thing. So that's the context. Randy, maybe what are your thoughts about marriage as a child of divorce? How did you go from thinking marriage was like not even an option to getting married young, quite young, and just maybe tell us a little bit your thoughts about marriage.
I didn't think I was that young getting married, but yes, I think I remember somebody asking me, why are you getting married so young? And I said, I don't know. I found the right person. To me, it had to do with my understanding of God, Jesus, and commitment. I didn't see commitment before. Parents loved me. I knew they loved me. So I guess in that way, that was a commitment from a parental point of view, even though I did get kicked out of the house, but deservedly so. Yeah, that transformation of Jesus and understanding about commitment, and that if I say my yes needs to be yes,
Mm.
no needs to be no. So I need to be clear on what I do. And so when I met Rita, we talked, and as we said yes, that we wanted to be together. And I remember I had a very strong, the next day after we first talked, that, in my discussion conversation with God.
Mhm.
What have I done? I don't know if I can do this. My emotions are all over the place. Can I? I remember that what went through my head was either you go for it now or you get out now. I think having Rita, who came from as you said, an intact family, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Definitely helped, from where she came from. When I said yes and we were going to get married, I took that seriously, that my commitment is my commitment. For me, that was the thing from a commitment point of view.
Well, it's interesting to me that some people just get married and some people takes a long time. So a big thing that happened in my life when I was 17 is that I met Jesus, and that was really a shift for me, similar to probably to what you have talked about before, where it's kind of a before and after, and really started me on a healing journey. If you had asked me when I was 17 if I wanted to be married, I would say, no way. That sounds like a terrible idea. I am absolutely not willing to be that vulnerable with anybody, to depend on somebody, to take that risk. I think it took me much longer to kind of work through my fears and my pain. So then for many years, I lived longing to be married, but didn't know how to find somebody. So then that had its own in my 30s and then 40s. Frustrating at times. So I guess point being, there's no guarantee one way or the other that that what you've experienced as a kid is either going to prevent you from getting married or guarantee that you get married. As you think about your marriage, and how long have you guys been married?
39 years.
39 years. Okay, so in 39 years of marriage, which is amazing, where have you seen your parents break up impact you, either for good or bad, in terms of your marriage?
I didn't want to do what my dad did. Maybe that would be the one side. I mean, my mom got remarried. Faith to me changed everything. I think, and even in my mom's life, faith changed her. I saw that she was a different person, which I think made me go, okay, there's something real about this. Especially in her marriage to my stepfather. And they both had faith, and you could tell they enjoyed each other, they loved each other. I think I saw that commitment level probably in my mom. I haven't really thought about it till you're asking
Mm.
me.
Sure.
I'm sure that had an impact on me because I think she was deeply disappointed and ashamed
Mm.
that the failure of the marriage with my father. And coming from her brokenness, her family was a mess. Her parents split up. But again, I think Jesus,
Mhm.
just understanding of what commitment is, has stuck me out of being committed to Rita, being committed to my faith. I want to do this or I want to walk away. but I can't walk away because I know that I know that I know what happened to me was real and changed, and it wasn't me that did it. I said yes, and some amazing things happened in my life.
Like you going into marriage, I thought this really is something that I'm committing to for better or for worse. I don't want to do what my parents did, which was go, well, never mind, it's not worth it, or so I'll find something else. I can maybe relate more to how it's been difficult for me coming from a divorced family. My husband also came from an intact family. When we will have arguments or conversations about things, I can tell that we're starting from two different starting points. Mine is very hesitant, like I'm probably going to get disappointed. I'm probably going to get hurt. So how do I protect myself? He's coming from the place of assuming that things are going to be great and everything's going to work out and he's secure and he's going to be taken care of. I can definitely recognize that that causes some tension in our relationship because we're really operating from different assumptions, different paradigms about not just about family, but about how people will interact with us.
I wonder too, though, if our personalities, I think,
Mm-hmm.
play an effect in this too, right? Of who we
Sure.
are, just in our natural personalities. I seem to, now it could be because of my shallowness that I actually don't get through this stuff, but I seem that I can let go of things pretty easy. For example, when I was a child, I was known as a crybaby. All the kids were older than me. I was the youngest, so I got a little picked on more, so I would go home and cry. As I look back at that, I think that was actually good because I got it out.
Mhm.
For me, when things happened, I would just, okay, that happened. You get it out, I move on. So that commitment thing that I, didn't see. And
Mhm.
then when I got this transformation of understanding commitment,
Mhm.
then when I said yes to be commitment, I'm going to be committed. Where you're saying within your story, which I could
Mhm.
see, yeah, because of the pain there of separation and trauma, that hey, how can I trust you?
Mhm.
Can I trust you? Can I not trust you? Trust for me on people has not, I don't, that has never been a real thing
Mhm.
for me. Trust is a foundational thing in any kind of relationship, no matter
Mhm.
what it is, whether
Yeah.
romantic or non-romantic.
Yeah.
It's trust is critical,
I
right?
appreciate what you're saying about different people will respond in different ways based on even simply as personality type, let alone then the experience of your parents and your age and kind of what happened after the breakup. I think that's helpful to remember because I've seen in adult children of divorce kind of maybe two extremes. One is I will change myself to try to be whatever it is that this person, what I think they want, in
Mhm.
attempt to find a partner, find a spouse, be loved, be lovable. In that sense, people tend to sort of lose some part of themselves because they're so desperate, for lack of a better word, but they're so eager. They believe that they have to change themselves because no one will love them as they are. I see another extreme of I'm not going to change myself. You can't make me. I am who I am and lack of flexibility. I think they're both not really helpful for a relationship or for marriage. We respond in different ways to try to avoid being hurt in the future. And I don't want to be hurt by being alone, so I'll do whatever I have to do to be loved. And the other one is I don't want to be rejected, so I will have very high standards and very rigid. I think what I've learned through marriage is that it really is a lot more about compromise and being willing to change. And I feel sad that I didn't see that growing up because I think what I what my husband often takes for granted is that he just saw a mom and a dad, a husband and a wife living under the same home, living life together and figuring out how to compromise where I didn't see that. And so I feel like, how am I ever supposed to learn something that I never saw? How have you found that? Like changing yourself, making compromises. What's that dynamic in your marriage?
As you know, my favorite color is gray. I'm not a black and white thinker.
Yeah.
I believe compromise is we need to compromise and we need to learn how to compromise. Some of the challenges would be when Rita's family, see, she never saw her parents fight,
Mm.
which I thought was unhealthy. In my family, it was probably the other extreme,
Sure.
very, very different. And so I think then, that there's one dysfunction in the intact family of how
Mhm.
they wanted to do it. And then
Yeah.
there's dysfunction in the other family. And how do we make sure our kids see that you can still fight, which you're not mean to each other. Your kids see that you can disagree and yet still love each other. I think if we don't see our parents doing that, then I think it's a difficulty. Probably had to learn say in disagreement that I need to tone it down. Rita needed to kind of step in. That's the compromise, right? It's trying to go, okay, obviously I need to honor you. If you can't handle this, say Rita has struggled with my I would say passion in the sense of my how my voice would go up and I frustrate, how I would do that. She's not used to that. It's very
Mhm.
monotone. But
It's great because I think it's to me, it's recognizing that no matter where you've come from, holding on to your way of doing things is not going to help you a whole lot to have a healthy marriage because you have to consider the other person and where they've come from. And I think that that goes both ways, divorced or intact families. My final question is, so if somebody who is from a divorced family is listening to this and they would like to get married, what kind of wisdom do we have for them? What advice, what suggestions? Because it can feel, I can, as a longtime single, it can feel hopeless thinking I'm incapable of this or I will never find someone. And I know we can't guarantee that everyone will get married. So this is not the guarantee that you're going to get married. But if you're a child of divorce thinking I would like to get married and I don't know what to work on or what can I do to become more healthy and able to be in a healthy relationship, maybe we could just talk about that a little bit, Randy.
I think in general, whether we get married or not, I think we just as a member of the human population, we need to work on ourselves to make sure that we need to be self-aware of what are our trigger points. We work on those things. And as you said, when we get married, it's not about just your way. It's a compromise of coming together. It's two people coming to and blending as to be one. So
Mhm.
how do you become one? Because you come from two different places. You need to work on those things. And, even before you're married, in the areas that we don't always know. Rita's been a tremendously patient,
Mhm.
gracious woman. People that want to get married, marriage is not going to be the answer. It's not the pinnacle. Marriage, though, is work. It's worth the work. If we can work on things on ourselves before, when we know we have things that we need to work on, then work on them before. To be self-aware.
Mhm.
Some people aren't like that, right? That's
Yeah.
an emotional intelligence thing. Not everybody has naturally emotional intelligence. Some do more than others, but we can learn emotional
Mhm.
intelligence. But we need to have community. Community is the best place to do that, as long as it's honest community,
Yeah.
where we're honest with each other and we're talking with each other and it's loving and accepting. And there's always going to be challenges in marriage. I think for us to say it would be silly. It's been worth being married 39 years.
Mhm.
I don't regret it.
Honesty is a big one. I think about being honest about what's going on with you, being honest about what you need, what you want, where you need to grow, the humility to say, okay, I blew that there. And I think, as you said, marriage is not going to fix it or solve it. What's helped me a lot as I've reflected on divorce and marriage throughout history, actually, is realizing that marriage actually serves a much bigger purpose than just making me happy and giving me a good life. It's meant to really be foundation block, a building block of society, of culture, of family. And to me, that helped me when I had a bigger picture that like, okay, today marriage might not be a lot of fun, but it's by staying married and trying to have a healthy marriage and a good marriage and a long-lasting marriage, I'm contributing to something that's bigger than myself and family and the community. And I think that's helpful because otherwise marriage just becomes about my own happiness. It's a really heavy burden for marriage to carry because there's no way that my husband can make me happy or I can make him happy all the time. And if it's only about happiness, then it won't last for years. Because I think sometimes as children of divorce, we can put marriage on a pedestal, like finally, if I can just get married and everything will be better. And sometimes children of divorce, we grit our teeth and not realize that it's not just stubbornness that will help a marriage stay together. It's learning those skills, like you said, having the humility, self-awareness. I think those are all things to take away and chew on for sure.
Some people avoid marriage
Mhm.
because it's not worth it because of what they've seen in the pain and so forth.
Mhm.
And then they don't do it. Or people think, well, if I only get married, then
Mhm.
it's going to be my happiness. I think that was my mother's, and she would say
Mhm.
that. She would have said
Yeah.
that. My mother's thing was because of her broken family. When she got married, that was going to be the happiness, and it wasn't. And then her whole world crumbled. I think for people that's a common thing. I think once we say yes, we should be committed to that. And I think we shouldn't fear marriage. We have to realize that marriage is work. It's not easy, but it's worthwhile.
Mhm. One thing that's helped me adjusting to marriage after so many years being single was sometimes changing the shift from love and the feelings, sort of the obsession maybe with happiness and romance. And because sometimes marriage isn't exciting and happy and fun, it's like frustrating and difficult or whatever. Say, I'm committed to my husband. I might not love him in this moment if you want to use those emotional feelings of love, I may not feel happy about what he's doing or how things are between us at this moment. I'm committed to that. But it's helped me to realize that you can be committed even when things are difficult, and that that's actually what marriage is. You've committed yourself to being with this person, even if you don't feel a certain way about them. And that was very freeing for me because when my parents split up, they told me that the reason they split up is because they didn't love each other anymore. So I thought, okay, if I don't love in this moment, if I don't feel these strong emotions for my husband, then we must be headed towards divorce. I had to go, no, that's not actually, that was their excuse for why they broke up, but it doesn't have to be the reality of my life and my future. So yeah, lots of things to think about: love, commitment, feelings, happiness, and all that. So thank you, Randy. And I hope this has been helpful for you watching this. Okay.